Ladies and gentlemen, on the live report, today we're getting you the Aravalli warning, which is on record, it's in paper, it's in black and white, and it's extremely serious. The court-appointed amicus curiae had flagged large areas. They said that large areas of the Aravallis were on the verge of losing legal protection. Slopes, which are an integral part of the mountain system and the Aravalli range, risk being erased from protection altogether. They warned about it. In fact, the amicus had warned that while the Forest Survey of India, or the FSI, had taken only the right slope into account, they said that the Geological Survey of India has not backed Rajasthan's position. They said it on record and on document. But the Aravalli boundary, and I want to go to show you the map, but let me tell you, the Aravalli boundary and the buffer zone is now being pushed to a grey zone. What does that mean? That means buffer zones could now become vulnerable to mining. It's on your screen right now. They could lose protection entirely. The new definition doesn't just redraw lines, it puts entire stretches of the Aravallis at risk. And that is why the amicus had made it clear in a centrally empowered committee report, mapping the Aravalli boundary is essential, they said. Because under Rajasthan's definition, the Rajasthan government definition, only hill peaks above 100 meters are protected. Everything else, the slopes, the buffers, the ecosystems that hold the range together are left exposed. We have the map. The map is on your screen, ladies and gentlemen. And the centrally empowered committee report shows this map. Let me put that map on the wall and explain it to you. And this map which is on your screen right now, right? This is what the definition is. And you see this is part of the map that is published in the centrally empowered committee report. So all the amicus involved in the case, this is what they warned the government about. You'll see that as per the definition, as per what the Rajasthan government said, now these were the only areas that were being defined as the Aravallis. The original definition of Aravalli makes sure that all the green cover, the original boundary is here. The green line that you see, the green line is the original line. If you can zoom this out, because these are protected, the hills are protected, but the buffer zones are not protected. The green cover under the new definition may not be protected. That's what they had warned. They had warned that while the hills, part of the hills may be protected, they warned that the green cover, the outer boundary that includes the buffer zone may not be protected with the new definition, which means if you look at the area that is taken into account, over 50%, and some estimates put it at even 90%, saying over 90% of the original Aravalli boundary may be vulnerable for mining, except the hills. The buffer zones could be opened up for mining. We'll demarcate it a bit more in a short while from now, but they warned about it. And I want to go across and get you Shambhavi. Shambhavi is joining us live. Shambhavi, this is a map that sort of gives us an idea of how much of the hills can be exposed to mining. The buffer zone, which is now vulnerable to mining, right? People have been asking the government how much is vulnerable. There are small figures given by the government. I think I saw somewhere that the government says that 0.19% is opened up for mining, but the truth is something else on the ground. When you look at the original boundary, the buffer zone is also now vulnerable. That is the fact on the ground.
Definitely, and such meager figure has been coming up from the government's end. You very rightly mentioned 0.19. There was also somewhere mentioned 0.22. So this is the figure that they're saying that only 0.22% of the Aravalli hills is exposed to mining, and according to them, this is allegedly a step that has been taken to make sure that this illegal mining is stopped, or there is controlled in a way, because according to them, this has been going for a very long time, which is true. And this step is going to just streamline the process, streamline the mining part. And there was also a very feeble attempt made by the minister explaining how that 100 meter will be calculated when it comes to the size, measuring the size of the mountains, that how the breadth part of it, the lower triangle, the lower broader part of it will be considered as a part of 100 meters, and how even earlier, as per when this new definition was not proposed, there was also this part of the Aravalli, that if there are any two mountains in the entire range and there is a plain in between and a couple of very short mountains are there, even that will be considered as a part of this Aravalli range. But now this exposes, this decision, this acceptance by the Supreme Court exposes even those parts to mining. And you were mentioning the buffer point. So in reality, we can see now three different stories. One is which is being presented by the ministers about how just less than even 1% of the Aravalli Hills is being exposed to illegal mining. The other story is the people that have been telling us, the people who have come on the streets. Even yesterday, there was a huge protest by the Rajasthan University students, and they were protesting. They've come on the streets, and there was this kind of warning from their end that some step has to be taken to rectify the situation. And the third story, the real story, which Republic has been bringing to you, showing the ground reality about how in almost all the villages before Republic reached, there was illegal mining going on to some extent under the garb of a legal lease. There were several illegal activities going on. So that is definitely the ground reality. Niranjan, back to you.